Hi guys, I'm Jenn Johns. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Canadian wilderness. Behind me is the Purcell Mountains and a glacier-fed lake. This is a really popular spot for picking huckleberries. That's something that local people around here really like to do, and usually we're making like huckleberry jam or even huckleberry pie, but I'm going to show you how to make huckleberry cheesecake. Now I've had Ruby out with me picking. She's taken a break in the lake here, and I'm going to finish picking, fill up my bucket here, and then I'm going to be heading back to the kitchen to show you guys how to make the cheesecake. If you don't like huckleberries or you can't find them, you can also substitute it for blueberries. So let's get picking and heading back home. We're going to start with making the crust. It's a really simple Oreo crust. So in here I have one bag of Oreos completely crushed up. I use the food processor. It's about the equivalent of 3 cups of the crushed cookie crumbs. And we're also going to need about between 2 tablespoons and 1/4 cup of melted butter. So all I have to do is take my melted butter and I'm going to pour it into my cookie crumbs. Just like that. And then just using a spatula, I'm going to mix it up until it's all combined. Once the crumbs and butter are combined, we're going to place them into a 9-inch round springform pan. The springform pan makes it really easy for you to pop out the cheesecake afterwards. So I'm just spreading it here with a spatula first, just getting it kind of evenly, as even as you can to start. And then I'm going to take the bottom of a flat glass and I'm just pressing it down. Once I've got this completely pressed down, I'm going to pop it into the fridge until I'm ready to use it. So you want to let the butter solidify the cookie crumbs into a nice hard crust. Once the crust is completed, we are going to make the huckleberry filling. You can also use blueberries if huckleberries aren't available for you. You're going to need 1 cup of the berries, and you can use fresh or frozen. We're also going to need 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and we're going to be using 1 tablespoon of liquid honey. So I have my huckleberries in a pan. I'm going to turn my heat up to a medium-high heat, and I'm going to take a masher and I'm going to mash the berries. I'm just going to flatten them down a bit. They will break down while they're actually cooking, and it will be easier. So this is something that I will do throughout the cooking process. Just get them started off there. Get them out of those little ridges there. Now we're going to add the other ingredients. So I'm putting in the sugar and top, and then the honey as well. It's gonna drip out of here. So all that lovely honey. And I'm gonna use my spatula to kind of help that get out here. There we go. And the honey and the sugar is just for sweetness. The huckleberries and the blueberries can be a little bit tart, so we're just adding a little bit of sugar. And so I'm just going to continue to stir this, and I'm pressing down while I'm stirring them because I want the berries to turn into, like, just kind of flatten and get that nice juices coming out of them. And while they cook, that will be a lot easier as well. So I'm going to continue to let it cook, and I'll be back halfway through the process. Once the mixture starts to boil, it's going to be a lot easier to mash up the berries. So I'm using my masher here, just trying to get them. You won't get them all, and you'll still want chunks anyway, so we're not worried about getting a really smooth mixture here. Just kind of get the most of it here. And we're going to let the mixture boil until it starts to thicken. Once the mixture has thickened, what we're going to do is turn the temperature down, and we're going to remove the berry mixture from the heat. You're going to let it cool completely before using it in the cheesecake. We're starting on the cheesecake layers now, and what we have to do first is bloom some gelatin. So here I have 1/2 cup of water that I've just boiled. I've got 2 envelopes of unflavored gelatin, and that's about 14 grams of it. And then here I have 1/2 cup of cold water, which I'm going to pour the gelatin into first. So I'm just mixing that up. I'm just going to stir it here. So because this is a no-bake cheesecake, we are using gelatin to hold the cheesecake layer together. When you're doing a no-bake cheesecake, you need to have some sort of something that holds it together, and that's what we're using this gelatin mixture for. So I'm just going to, that's about mixed, all the clumps are gone. Now I'm going to take my boiling water and then add that in here, and that's going to dissolve the gelatin. We're just going to set this aside because we need it to come down to room temperature because we don't want to add this hot liquid to our cream cheese mixture. To start the cream cheese portion, we need 1.5 bricks of cream cheese, and so that is about 12 ounces of cream cheese. We're going to need 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and we're going to be using 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. So what I'm going to do first is take my hand mixer and I'm going to beat my cream cheese. Once the cream cheese is soft, I can add in the granulated sugar. And I'm going to add in the lemon juice. The lemon juice just helps to kind of cut through any of the sweetness of the berries and give it a little bit of tart. So I'm just going to continue to mix that until light and fluffy, and then I'm going to set it to the side. The second part of the cream cheese mixture needs 375 milliliters of whipping cream, which I'm going to pour into a medium-sized bowl. So we have that poured into there. And then we also need to add into it 1/2 cup of icing sugar, and I'll put that on top as well. And then I've switched my hand mixer to whisk attachments, and I'm going to whip it until the whipping cream is stiff. So I have my cream cheese mixture and my whipping cream mixture here, and I'm going to dump my cream cheese or my whipping cream mixture into the cream cheese, just like this. We're going to combine them now. I'm just getting that all in there. And then I'm going to take my beaters again and mix it into completely. Once I've got those two mixed together, I'm going to take my gelatin here with my water, pouring it into the cream cheese and whipping cream mixture, and I'm going to beat that until it is completely combined. Once we've got everything mixed together, we're ready to pour our mixture into our springform pan with our Oreo crust. I'm going to put about half of it into the bottom here. It makes about 5 cups of mixture, so you want to put about 2.5 to 3 cups down here in the bottom. So once I've got this mixture in, I want to solidify this layer before I go on to the next step. So I'm going to pop it into the freezer for like 5 to 10 minutes until it has a crust that's not going to allow the blueberry or the huckleberry mixture to be poured into it and like indent it. Once this first layer has solidified, we're going to spoon on our huckleberry mixture. And I'm just going to put it kind of just randomly here. I just want to make spreading it out a little bit easier. And I'm going to be using an offset spatula to do that. So you can see the huckleberries are a really beautiful dark color. They taste absolutely delicious as well. If you've never had one, definitely want to try to seek one out and find them. So now I'm going to take my offset spatula and just spread it gently, going towards the edges. I don't want to press into that first layer at all though. If it does go, it's not a huge deal. I'm just trying to keep it more like a distinct layer in between the cheesecake and the berry part. So I'm going to just smooth it out, kind of probably about like that, just using that offset spatula. And then I'm going to take the remaining amount of my cheesecake mixture here, and we're going to pour it on top. I'm just going to go around pouring that, getting that all on top. Now this is going to have to go into the freezer again for about 10 minutes while I prepare the next layer. There's one more layer to go. The top layer of the cheesecake is a jelly layer. So I have 1 box of the grape jello here in my bowl, and I'm going to add in 1 cup of boiling water into it. I'm just preparing the jello layer just as you would from the box itself. So I'm just mixing that together, letting that part dissolve, and then I'm going to take the cold layer, the cold water, and add that to this layer here. So I'm pouring in the cold layer, and then I'm going to let the jello come to room temperature. You could even put it in a little bit of an ice bath, but again, I don't want to add this to the cake without it cooling down a bit, or it'll just melt that cheesecake layer. Once the cake has set, this top layer, we're going to add our jello layer here, and I'm just pouring it onto a spoon just to help prevent it from digging into that cake. Like if you were to pour it in a solid stream, you do risk making kind of like a little hole where you're pouring that in. So I'm just going to start with about that much, and then I'm going to drop in some extra berries. kind of just one by one. And then as I see that the larger huckleberries aren't quite covered with the jello, I'll pour a little bit more in, but I'm going to fill up the top here. Just kind of placing them all around in different spots, just getting them, make it look really nice, like just kind of scatter them all around. So the final thing that we have to do is put it back into the fridge, and you want to let it solidify for at least 2 hours. You want to make sure it's nice and solid. And then you just have to pop it out of the springform pan and you'll be ready to slice and serve it. So I'm going to come back when that is ready. So there you go, everybody. I have sliced into a second cheesecake that I had so you can see the delicious gooiness coming out in between the two cheesecake layers. It's the huckleberry filling that's just spilling out, and it's so delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and consider sharing it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys all again next time.